If you're thinking about renovating a bathroom or updating your kitchen or even overhauling your landscape, we've got some great ideas today on FYH that'll make your job a whole lot easier. Don't go away, it's all coming up next right here on For Your Home. This is the fifth part of an 8-part series on flipping for contemporary. We've been transforming this 30-year-old traditional ranch home into a dynamite contemporary abode. Now, in true FYH fashion, we have totally torn the place apart, and now we're all working feverishly to put it all back together. With our cabinets installed, we're ready to start topping them off with style. Come on in. A few weeks ago, we visited our local showroom and picked out our countertop materials. This is Mario, and he's with Stabella, and he's our fabricators for all the countertops in this house. And this is our second project together this season, right?
Yes, Vicki.
You know, earlier in the year, you might have seen the show. We did a bathroom renovation, and Stabella did the countertops in there, and I thought they turned out just beautiful. You guys did great work.
Thank you.
We're working with a solid surface material in here.
Correct. This is a silestone. It's a 3-centimeter material. 93% quartz. It's stain resistant, heat resistant, and scratch resistant.
Well, you know, it's absolutely beautiful. I have Carrara marble in my house, and it scratches and it etches, and it's just like a big baby sitting in my kitchen. You have to baby it all the time. This looks as beautiful as that does, but doesn't require any of those maintenance issues at all.
No, Vicki. This is pretty much self-maintenance. You don't have to seal it like you do with granite. And for the price, you're getting a lot better material.
Do you find a lot of homeowners are going to solid surface quartz type materials as opposed to natural stone?
Yes, definitely.
And why do you think that is?
Well, we offer more variety in colors, and also because of the durability of the material.
Well, you know, one of the things that I like about it is I love to put a big island in kitchens, and I like the fact that we can get some really long material.
Correct.
The island that we did at my house last season, we had to keep going to the yard and kept waiting and waiting for a long enough slab to come in to do the island. Now, we're doing something a little different with this one. We have some different kind of treatment that's going on the end. In case you're wondering what's going on with the cabinet edge here, what's going to happen here?
We're going to do a side skirt with a miter edge, so you don't see the lamination line. And obviously it just ends right here, so it's a very modern look.
Very contemporary, which is what we're going for in the house. So that'll just come and wrap this around all the way over. You know, one of the things as a homeowner you probably don't realize, but you've got a real proactive role when you're getting countertops put in. You might have thought after you selected the material you were done. Not true, right?
No.
Take a look at our prep sink area down here. Okay, so you didn't have to have the sink, but you had to have the template for the size of it so that you would know what size to cut the hole with.
Correct. Some sinks don't come with a template, so we do have to take the sink, but in this case it did came with a template. Okay.
Now for the homeowner, here's where you come in, all right? You have to have already picked out your sink, of course, and your faucets, because when they show up, they need to make sure that the sink is here because they're going to mount it underneath the cabinet, and they need to know where you want your faucets and how many holes to drill. Right? I think a lot of people think that there's just one place to put a faucet, but there's not.
No, there's different options, and that's why we leave it to the end. You can either have it in the front, corner, or in the side, either side, depending if you're right-handed or left-handed.
Construction seems to be a series of steps, and sometimes it seems like you take 2 steps backwards to get 1 step forward. Well, this is Bonner, and he is our tile man on this job. Hey, Bonner, how you doing?
Doing good, Vicki. How you doing?
Good. Bonner has been one of my best friends on this project because he's been so tolerant of all my changes, my late delivery schedules, everything that goes into your everyday job, right?
That's standard stuff for tile work.
Well, you know, I don't think a lot of people realize that the tile guys come on the job really early on, and then they're almost one of the last guys out of the job. When do you start in on a project?
Typically, we start after the drywall, and if I had my preference, before the trim.
Let's talk about the shower, because you know, a lot of times homeowners think that there's just one way to install tile, but there's not. We're doing a different technique in this one.
Right. You were doing as you specified, we're doing a vertical straight lay instead of when you have a 12 by 24 or an elongated tile, you usually do a brick lay style. This is a more contemporary
look. This is a brick lay.
This is a brick lay here, yeah.
That we've got going on here.
Which we did on the ceiling and on the floor, just to give a different pattern. So the vertical straight lay is definitely a more modern look.
More contemporary look,
yeah.
and that's the thing that we're going for in here. Let's talk about the grout in there, because grout colors make a huge difference. And for those of you who think that grout only comes in black and white, hello, we have dozens and dozens of colors that you can choose from. In there, I want to go with a white grout, but I don't want the maintenance. So what can we do in there? Because that's a steam shower.
Yes, it's a steam shower. The typical thing was epoxy. They have several different types of grouts now that are approved for steam showers, and one is urethane grout. And it's a solid, almost like epoxy, but it's easier for the installer to work with. But it has the same sealing properties.
Anything easier for you, Bonner. You know I'm all over
it. Makes
right?
it easier for us, yeah. Epoxy is a lot of people swear by it, but it's a very difficult process to work with. So yeah, the urethane grouts have the same properties as epoxy. Self-sealing, so you don't have to seal it with the aftermarket sealers. Where if you use standard cement grout, sealers are recommended for stain purposes.
But now out here, that's the kind of grout we're going to be using here.
Yeah, we'll
so
probably use the same thing just to continue out through the process inside.
Okay, so these won't have to be sealed out here at all?
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Today we're talking about ideas and projects that you might want to incorporate in your next renovation. I want to talk about one of the things that I love the most about redoing a bathroom, and that's installing a heated floor. There is nothing in the world better than walking in on warm tile, especially in the winter time. You know, this is the third renovation project that we've incorporated heat mats into, and I think it's going to be a permanent thing for us. This is how this works. You know, once they get all the walls framed out, then the contractor comes in and he takes very precise measurements. They have to be absolutely exact because the heat mat is made at the factory to exactly the measurements that the contractor gives them. You cannot trim it or change it in the field, so those measurements have to be accurate. And then they make this mat, it comes to us, we roll it out on the floor. Bonner actually installed this, our tile guy. He rolls it out on the floor, and then, as you can see, it's taken a lot of abuse from the time that it went down until now that the tile are going over it, but that's okay because these are very durable and they're built to last a long time. Now, once the mat goes down, the electrician also has connected wires to it so that we can install a thermostat. And this thermostat can be set at any temperature that you want. You can set it to come on at a time, go off at a time. And that way you can control it, you know, just however you happen to like the settings to be at. We not only put heat mats in the bathroom floors and in the water closet, but we also put them in the shower. Yes, that's right, folks, in the shower. You know, when you take a shower and you shut off that water and you're drying off and pretty quickly the tile floor is cold? Not if you have a heat mat. It stays nice and warm. So it's a very simple install. It's not that expensive, but it's an addition to your project that you really need to work into your budget. I love them, and I think you're going to fall in love with it too. The painters are busy painting everything that's holding still and even a few things I've seen in motion. Now I decided to have the custom doors for this house painted black. I did that to my doors and I've really enjoyed them, gotten a lot of compliments about them. In my house, the black is very chic and very traditional. In this house, because of the style of the doors, black is going to look very contemporary. Now, I met with the door manufacturer a few weeks ago. We talked about the plans for the house and made our selection for these custom doors. Take a look. Now, I had some special issues. Not only was I after a very specific contemporary look, I was trying to match another set of doors. This is the master suite right here, and this goes into the master bathroom. On the outside of this, we're going to have wood barn doors installed that will slide together. There's a company out of Colorado that is making the walnut doors that are going to go out here. And because there were so many different door openings, and Abby, you and I talked about this, there was a door into the room, the closet door, another closet door. They were all going to converge right on top of each other, so I thought it was important that they matched. So we had the company in Colorado do the CAD drawings, and then they went to you guys.
Right, and so then our CAD techs will take those drawings, we'll use our own CAD software to recreate those drawings, make sure that everything matches, make sure that our tooling will match, and then we send it back to the customer for approval. And this is something that we do all the time, whether it's other doors we need to match, or designers or architects send us a sketch of something that they've seen or we need to match, so millwork or spring line, whatever the case. That's the beauty of being custom.
And I love that part of it, and I also love the fact that the doors in this house are not perfectly square because it's restoration, and they're a little different sizes.
Right.
And when you go in and you buy, you've all been to lumber yards, you've seen the racks of doors.
Right.
When you grab those, you don't have any control other than for your carpenter just to kind of rip off some of the sides and the bottom.
Right, so your stiles may not be even, the rails may not be even, so the whole room may not quite marry together. And that's a little detail that really can make a big difference throughout the whole project.
Especially when you're trying to make a really high-end custom look.
Right.
It just doesn't fall through.
Exactly.
Or follow through. I'm excited because I'm thinking this is my sample, right?
It is. It is.
That's turned out so great because, you know, what we wanted here, I didn't want to go shaker because you and I talked about that too. That was, just the flat panels by themselves would have been
right, which
like
is what
that.
this sample is here.
See, that would have just been too plain for me. But by putting this little detail, which is just a way you set your computer to run around here.
Exactly.
That made so much more of an impact to me for the design. I'm seeing as I'm looking at this, tell me how these doors are put together, because I'm not familiar with that construction.
Sure, we use a triple lamination methodology, and we use a modified stile and rail construction. So what that means is we create two face frames for the front and for the back. And throughout the center of the door is a center core that runs continuous through the door. This triple lamination makes the door very sturdy and very rigid. So once the door is painted on all 6 sides, and when you paint it, you seal the door, you do not have to worry about the door moving.
And that's the best part about it, because, you know, if you're going to paint your doors, you don't want to be back trying to fill in the little cracks when it expands and contracts over the years.
Right, and that's just a natural byproduct of wood. And so MDF, since it is a wood component, is not sensitive to changes in the atmosphere like traditional wood is. And that doesn't mean wood is inferior, it's just a maintenance issue.
It's just a different thing.
Right, exactly, that has to be addressed.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be painting these doors, we're going to be painting them black.
That would be striking.
And so, you know, it's great that we don't have to worry about cracks or anything coming out in this. Now, this will be primed when we get them?
Right, this is our primer. We use a high solids content primer. So what we recommend is that the doors just be lightly scuff sanded before the painter paints them, and again, paint them all 6 sides. We recommend 2 coats. And the other beauty about MDF, it is very repairable. So say you're in the final stages of closing, someone comes by with a hammer, dings a hole in the panel. Or
like in your case, you've got a little girl, if she runs a tricycle into it.
Right, exactly. Or a dog, we have a dog too. And
scratches
right, exactly. So all you need is just some wood filler or a Bondo, sand it down, repaint it, and you'll never know there was an issue there.
And you're good to go. Another thing is a lot of times with MDF, people will be concerned about hinges staying and hardware staying. What's different about your construction that makes that not an issue?
Well, what we did when we first started the company is we did a lot of research and found out where people were having issues with MDF doors. And again, that was hardware holding capacity. So what we came up with was we embedded wood blocking along each stile and along the top and bottom rail. So no matter how your door is being used, whether it's a sliding door, a swinging door, a closet door with a ball catch and a dummy handle, you have wood blocking that you're going to be screwing into. So you can put your dunnage hardware on here and then swap it out for your finished hardware at the end of the job, and you don't have to worry about...
Which you could never do with other doors.
Right, exactly, because with MDF, the strength is in the surface, and so if you screw into the edge of an MDF door and there's no wood behind it, you can only screw into it one time, and that's it. And so then you're toast. And so this allows...
I'm so impressed you had all these really technical terms, and then you're toast. You know?
And then you're toast. Right, exactly. I like to keep it simple. So this really allows a great deal of flexibility, and because our doors are triple lamination, if you have specialized hardware, and we know about that on the front side, we can accommodate that as we're manufacturing all the components. So some people in restorations like this, they want antique hardware. So your bore might be smaller, or you may have a mortise lock or some other type of hardware you want to use.
You can do right at the shop before they get there.
Right, exactly.
Now, when you're done with the doors, then they're going to go over to the building center.
Yes.
And they're going to hang them there, right?
Right, yeah. So they'll run the doors through their equipment, so they'll hang them on the jambs as well, and then they'll be delivered here pre-hung.
Well, I know everybody's in a hurry to get the doors here because they said when the door's coming, once they get here, they can run the baseboard and they can start really putting the trim on. So I'm going to do my sign off on this.
Okay.
And so you guys can get right to work on it. And I can't wait because we're going to paint these black and they're just going to look fantastic.
They will.
Yeah, Abby, thank you so much. And
Thank
tell
you.
your dad I said hi.
I will do that.
Okay, thanks. Now, you might not think about gutters as being a decorative accessory to your house, but if you hang out long enough with this guy, Ben Cannon, you're going to find out that gutters can be very stylish. Right, Ben?
Yeah, thanks, Vicki. Gutters, they come in all shapes and sizes. They are made out of all kinds of different material. They can have a little bit of extra flair when you need them to, and you can get them a little extra large when you need them to help get the water away from the house.
Well, you know, the nice thing about gutters is that their primary function, as you said, is to get the water away from the house. You know, on this project house, we had a lot of previous damage that was caused to the foundation, the floor joists, because they did not move the water away.
Yeah, gutters help get the water away from the foundation. There are all different pieces to the gutter system, but probably the biggest thing, you mentioned neglect, is that you have to keep the gutters clean after they're on the house.
Yeah, when you come out with a self-cleaning gutter, we're going to be all over that,
well,
man.
They've tried that, but it doesn't really work.
Okay, so this house originally had, what, a 4-inch gutter on it?
It's a 5-inch gutter, and residential, you have an option between a 5-inch gutter and a 6-inch gutter, which is what we've got here. We have a 5-inch gutter here.
Now this is what came off the house.
This is similar to what came off of the house, and we have here, we have a 6-inch piece of gutter. And just
okay, now this looks a lot bigger than that one.
Yeah, even just as a size comparison, one fits down inside of the other one.
Wow.
So that should tell you immediately how much more water you're going to move.
And isn't that the real secret? It's how much water can we move away as quickly as we possibly can?
As quickly as possible, but you have to have a system, maybe the 5-inch gutter would carry the water, but the 6-inch system allows you to carry that water and then some.
Okay, so now when
in the sudden rain that is, typical to our area that we've had recently, you get an afternoon shower that dumps
it's like a monsoon,
half an inch to an inch in a short period of time. That's when you need a really large gutter.
Well, last week's show, you might have remembered we were sort of floating away here in a rainstorm. Okay, so to get that water away, of course, we use the beautiful downspouts.
Yeah, downspouts come in all different sizes. Typically, with the 5-inch gutter for years, on most residential houses, you had a 5-inch gutter and you had a 2-inch by 3-inch downspout.
Okay.
And that is basically the diameter or the dimensions of the pipe itself.
Okay.
A lot of times what we did is, because maybe the 5-inch gutter was carrying the water, but it wasn't getting the water out of the trough fast enough. So we would upgrade to a 3-inch by 4-inch downspout.
Now, can you upgrade to this size downspout and keep this size gutter?
You can do that. You can keep the smaller gutter with the larger downspout, which most of the time fixes the efficiency of the gutter system.
Landscaping, they're moving tons of dirt behind this brick wall, so we'll just have to put up with that. But now for this one, if we have a bigger gutter and a bigger downspout, then we're ahead of the game all the way around.
You're ahead of the game all the way around.
Okay.
The other thing, other coin I can throw out there is, with the bigger downspout, you can go to a different style.
Ooh, this is kind of classy, a nice little round gutter.
Sometimes, most of the time people recognize a round downspout to going with a half-round gutter. Half-round copper gutters. You see it on a lot of old or really traditional houses that might have a slate roof or a tile roof. You see
with
that
a round gutter.
Round gutter. What we've seen happen in the past is a lot of times people will take the round downspout, pair it up with the regular OG gutter, and it gives a little bit extra flair or a little flavor to it.
A landscaper's job isn't all about pretty flowers and green grass. A lot of times it takes a lot of shaking and moving. This is David, and he is our landscaper on this project. David's always our landscaper on our projects, right?
Right.
And your guys have been moving dirt and hauling dirt and packing down dirt for weeks. How's it going?
It's going well. We're almost ready for the artificial turf out front. And most of that part, as far as moving the dirt, is completed.
Yeah, you know, I was really impressed with the way that retaining wall turned out. You know, at first when I saw it staked out, I said, wow, this is a much bigger place than I thought. You know, sometimes on drawings they don't really look the same. But now that I see it up, it's exactly the right size. I can see where the shrubs are going to go and where the artificial turf's going to go. And I can't wait to see those landscape lights your guys put in so we can really light that up. It's going to be beautiful.
Really makes that area usable now.
Yeah, and I think somewhere under all that mud there is a brick sidewalk still there, right? Tell me that.
I think so.
Okay. While the bulldozers and tradesmen are doing all the heavy lifting down at the project house, I thought I'd slip away, come down here to my garage, and start a project for the new pantry. Are you like me? You know, you think you have things in the pantry, then you go to cook a meal, and all of a sudden you found out that somebody's used the last can of tuna fish and nobody let you know, or whatever the ingredient might be. Well, a good solution for that, of course, is for them to make a note, but nobody has paper. So today I'm going to show you how to make a whiteboard that you can hang in your pantry or in your kitchen or anywhere, I guess, in your home that you need to take some notes and just jot down what the next shopping list needs to include. I started off by going to my local antique shop. I love to go there for good picture frames that are really, really cheap but can be recycled into a new life. This little black wooden frame I found there for $10, and it had no picture, which is perfect for me. I didn't need a picture and I didn't need glass. That's probably why it was $10. And it's already got the wire on it for hanging. So then I went to my home improvement store and I bought what they call whiteboard. You know, there's so many great things there that you can find. There's, you know, masonite, and you can paint chalkboard paint on it, or they even have them now that come with chalkboard paint. So if you'd rather have a chalkboard, you could do that instead of the whiteboard. Technique is still the same. But I like the whiteboard because sometimes the chalkboard's kind of hard to keep clean. All right, I even had them cut it for me to size. That way I didn't even have to get my saw out, the big saw for that. Okay, so once you put it in there, because this is a used frame, you're probably not going to have all the little fasteners that you need. So while you're at your home improvement store, pick up some of these little metal brads like we have right here, and a tack hammer. This is a great tack hammer. I used to use this when I did upholstery work. It's magnetic, so it's really handy to hold it in place so that when you're working, you can just hold it and tap it right in like that and stop so it just catches the edge. And then you want to go around here and just place them right along the side of it, all the way down, and then across the top. There we go. There we go. Okay, you get the idea. Just all the way around, putting your tacks in one right at the other until this is nice and secure. Okay, now that we have all of those in where they're supposed to be, isn't that magnetic hammer cool? I love that. I always keep it hidden away so nobody takes it for other projects. All right, now I'm just going to flip this over. Voila, I have an instant whiteboard. Frame $10, this piece cut to size was $1.50. Can't beat that. Less than 12 bucks, we've got a great whiteboard ready to hang. But I like to go a step further because just like you can never find a piece of paper to make a note, you can't always find your markers to use or your piece of chalk. So I found this little piece of molding at the home improvement store, and I'm going to just glue it right to the edge of this frame, right along here. It'll just go right along the edge of it, and that's going to hold those pins so they're always handy and right in place for us. So to glue that on, I'm going to use just a little bit of liquid nails. Let me get this guy going. There we are. And I'm just going to run a little bead of it right along the frame. Doesn't take much of this stuff. And if you've used it before, you probably have used it like it's kind of a brown, yucky color. Well, now they come out in colors and clear, so it's easier to use. And if it gets, you know, off the edges, no big deal. You can't see it. I like that. Okay, run a bead of that all the way down. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape to hold this in place for just a second. Not for good, but just while I'm working here. into the edge. Keep it from shifting around on me while I'm getting it all set up. There we go. Now, the next thing you want to do is use a clamp. They've got new plastic clamps out now, but I don't like them because their tension is so tight on it. I'm more the old-fashioned crank away one. So now I'm just going to put this clamp on here on the edge of it and just turn it, crank it down, get it just centered so it'll hold it right there. Don't do it too tight because you don't want to crack or dent the wood. Then I'll put another clamp in the middle and I'll put another clamp down here on this end. And I'm going to let it just dry overnight. You could, if you wanted to, you could go in with a little bit of black paint and a sponge brush and put a coat of black paint on it if you want it to be the same as the frame. Or if you like the fact that it had a nice white to tie it in with a whiteboard, just leave it just like it is. Take a little white paint and touch up the end where you trimmed it down to size. So that's all there is to doing, making your own whiteboard to go into any area in your home. And next time you're ready to go to the grocery store, stop by that pantry, jot down what's on this board, and you won't be running out of tuna fish or any of those ingredients that you needed. Do you want to know more about the projects today or our guests? Visit us on the web. You're going to find great behind-the-scenes shots, streaming video, project ideas. We even have an e-newsletter with tips and ideas. It's foryourhome.com. Well, I sure hope you got some great ideas today that you can use around your house. Join me next time right here on For Your Home when we're going to start putting the finishing touches on our project house. See you next time.
You want to put the hard wall pipe in because the water will move smoother and carry more water without getting clogged.
Okay.
The corrugated.
All right, we're going to stop. We'll put up with dump trucks, ladies and gentlemen, but we will not put up with ambulances and emergency equipment.
Hey girl. Hey girl. So I was just showing the difference between all of them. This is the one you ended up choosing. That's what we'll be using in the bathroom. And
you did a really good job at this, so I could like take a vacation and you could host the show for me, huh?
I'll take over for you, no problem.
Good job.